Cool. Welcome back to the Kevin Wright Show podcast. Today we're talking about Me Too, the Me Too movement. Man, the other day I was listening to some guys talk. Some men were talking, some men were chatting, and one of them said, the Me Too movement has gone too far. And he's like, I'm just bummed because the Me Too movement has gone too far. The Me Too movement has gone too far. I really started thinking about this, and it kind of pissed me off a little bit. And he was talking about how men out there, even some celebrities, have been falsely accused of sexual harassment and assault and different things. But I started thinking about what he was saying. The Me Too movement has gone too far, and I've got some thoughts on this. I've got some thoughts on the Me Too movement in general. First of all, if you don't know what the Me Too movement is, the Me Too movement is a hashtag. It's a banner. It's a shout out for women to be able to come out of hiding and say, I also was sexually assaulted. I also was shamed at work. I also was part of a power differential where somebody who had a supervisory role over me pursued me in a sexual way for work benefits. The Me Too movement has been this banner and this shout out for women to basically come out of hiding and share a story about how they were mistreated, about how they were taken advantage of, about sexual assault. And it's difficult. The Me Too movement's been really cool because it's difficult to come out and tell somebody that this bad thing happened to you. For some reason, we as humans experience shame, incredible shame, and we take it upon ourselves that it was our fault when people do evil to us. And so it's difficult for people to come out, but the Me Too movement has given a voice to people. And people could just write hashtag Me Too and start expressing some of their sadness, some of their hurt, some of the abuse that they've gone through. So that's a roundup of the Me Too movement. To say that the Me Too movement has gone too far is just so dumb. Now I wanna hit on what this man was talking about, this person I was listening to. He said the Me Too movement has gone too far because some people get falsely accused of sexual harassment. That's a real thing. False accusations happen all the time. But the topic that he needs to be talking about is being falsely accused. It's a whole different topic. To take power away from the Me Too movement by talking about false accusations, to me is a disservice. And you're hurting a lot of people in that. Do people get falsely accused? Of course. False accusations happen all the time. People get falsely accused of major crimes. There's falsely accused people in prison. It's heartbreaking. It's terrible. Sometimes the justice system fails. It's so sad. But the topic that this person needs to be discussing is the topic of being falsely accused. Not the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement has not gone too far. It sucks when people get falsely accused. It happens. But the Me Too movement is just scratching the surface. The Me Too movement has not gone too far. I can't even begin to understand in my mind how much more equality we need for women in America and around the world. My representation is in America, and I just know we're not on an equal playing field. As a man, I know that I have advantages that a woman doesn't have. So the Me Too movement has not gone too far. Not even close. And I feel like when you hear somebody criticizing a justice movement, they really need to be criticizing something else. Like this man, he needs to be criticizing the fact that false accusations get through sometimes. And be careful about taking power away from the Me Too movement. You know, a similar metaphor, similar example, when the movie Black Panther came out, it was a phenomenal step in the right direction for black representation in Hollywood, and specifically black representation in superhero action movies. You know, there's this movie about a superhero called the Black Panther. Most of the cast is black. Most of the cast is African American, obviously. But I heard some white people complaining, saying, man, it's a bummer that I don't have opportunity to be in that movie because it's a black-led movie. And I just said, dude, you don't even understand. Every movie in Hollywood is a white-led movie throughout history. Imagine how it feels to be a black actor and just not have an opportunity. You're going out for roles, and it's such a minor part of the industry, such a small percentage that you could even apply for. And people were saying they were disappointed. Their feelings were hurt because Black Panther focused on black people. What the fuck? That's crazy. It's a similar thing. It's a similar thing, just to not understand the power of the Black Panther movie movement. When a black kid is going up to the movie poster and saying, finally, here's a movie about black people being heroes. And the subject matter is not about the struggle of the black person. You know, in Black Panther, the subject matter is that the people of Wakanda, the people of this culture, are the leaders of the world in harmony. They're the leaders of the world in technology. They're the leaders of the world in strength and politics. It's coming from a place of strength that these black people are featured, not from a place where their skin color shows the struggle that they've been through. And a lot of times that's the subject matter in a black movie. So it's very special, and it's you know, the Black Panther movie created a stir, and it gave people representation and hope, but it's not enough. It's not nearly enough. We need 1 million Black Panther movies. We need 1 million black superheroes. Examples of leadership in Hollywood. And I feel like sometimes people would complain about it and they didn't realize how racist they were being. They didn't realize how much they're taking away from a powerful movement. The same thing in the Me Too movement. It's gone too far. Not too far. Men don't realize what it's like to be a woman in the workplace. Let's isolate the workplace for a minute. Imagine going to work every day and having creative ideas on how to make money, creative ideas on how to make your business better, creative ideas on how to climb the ladder, you as an individual. But what you're valued for, what you're looked at is your the way you look. Your value is in your boobs and how much legs you show, how good you can dress. Imagine feeling that on a regular basis. Imagine walking into your new job and coming guns a-blazing with energy and excitement to make a difference in the world, to make money, and you're even willing to serve your boss and serve your organization and make them more money than you're going to get paid. You're excited, and yet you're just looked at and you're just valued based on your boobs, based on your ass. It's so fucked up. It's so difficult to even wrap your mind around what it would feel like. But that's a regular part of life for a woman. Hey, I've got ideas. Just sit and look pretty. Hey, I've got a proposal. You need to wear more makeup. Hey, I've got this idea that I think can make our company more money. Okay, cool, but I can't even hear that from you because all I'm thinking about is what you offer sexually. Man, I spent some time down in Los Angeles and I was listening to stories of casting calls. And you hear these horror stories that a woman's going in for a casting call or for a modeling shoot to get the gig. And she is being asked to perform a blowjob. A male in power is saying, put my cock in your mouth and you can get this job and you can show your value to me. And this woman is showing up to put her talents out, to show that she's an actor, to show that she's a writer, to show that, you know, she has a special presence and a special look as a model. And those kind of things are happening. I think it's difficult for men to wrap their mind around that because they've never had to deal with it. it is true that sometimes men get objectified. I've been objectified before, or however you want to call it. I was in, but it's not a cultural thing that we deal with. It's not a plague in our country that we're constantly living under. It's not a massive weight that debilitates you in work and in the home and at school and in politics. It's not this constant thing. The way you look, man, constantly worrying about the way you look and getting and complexes being formed. So the Me Too movement obviously hasn't gone far enough. I mean, equality for women. The subject of equality for women is so broad. It's such a big topic. I feel like we're so far away. I feel like we're so far. I used to work in a church. And I got to speak from time to time. And one time I was given a leadership role. I showed some charisma, I showed some character, and I got given one of the top leadership roles. And one of my first actions was to start giving equality to women. And I said, we just need more representation. Just something simple like that. We just need more representation. We're always hearing from the male voices. We're always seeing the males up front. We're always making the men the celebrities in our organization. I just want to start doing some things where we put women up front. We hear the voice of women. We see women in leadership. We see them in equality. And the amount of pushback and the amount of anger I got was shocking. People would say, you don't believe in your religion because you want to make women equal with men. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. We have so far to go. We have so far to go in the fight for equal rights. Equal rights. And you could say on paper, women have equal rights. You know, people point back to when women were allowed to vote. Imagine that there was a time in the 1920s and 30s where there had to be fights to get voters' rights for human women in America. You know, there was a time where they were not looked at as competent citizens who could put in their intellectual vote for somebody to go into office. Now you say, how far have we come from that? Not that far. Unfortunately, not far enough. Because, yeah, women can vote in our country, but look at the way we treat them. Yes, of course, the Me Too movement hasn't gone too far. And it's better probably to say we haven't gone far enough in our country. We don't think about it enough. We don't think about the role of women. We don't think about the plight. We don't discuss it enough. We don't teach it to our kids enough, you know? Imagine every single day of your life, you're sitting in the parking lot getting ready for work and you're just gripping your steering wheel in agony and pain and sadness because you know you're just going to go in and be treated like a piece of meat who doesn't have ideas and who doesn't have skills and who does, is a lesser person, a lesser citizen. That's a reality for a lot of people. And so the Me Too movement hasn't gone far enough, you know. I think the Me Too movement is important. Being able to say on social media that you're tired of the bullshit of being objectified by men. You're tired of the bullshit of being valued only for the way you look, only for your sexuality, only for the way you do your makeup and the way you do your hair and the way you dress. And that the other things that you bring to the table, the other creativities and powers you bring to the table are not relevant. I mean, imagine sitting in your car and thinking through all those things every day before you start your shift. Every day before you start your shift. The Me Too movement has gone too far. I can't believe somebody would say that. I can't believe somebody could even think that. I'll give you a second to say those words and then you get to take them back. You get to realize, oh shit, I just made the dumbest statement of all time and I'm sorry and I bow down before everyone in this bar, everyone in this restaurant who heard me say that, and I'm really fucking sorry. I am an idiot and I apologize. Yes, you owe an apology for saying that. The Me Too movement has not gone too far. It's not even close. Like I said, it's just scratching the surface. One of the things we were discussing the other day with some friends is how do you communicate to men the feeling of being objectified on a daily basis as a woman? Because it's a loaded topic. It's a difficult topic. It's really difficult to even talk about. You get into offensive conversation just in bringing up the topic because representation is a problem. Like right now on this podcast, how is it? I don't really know a lot of things I'm saying right now. I don't feel it. I haven't sat under the weight of it. You know, I'm just kind of spitting ideas from a man's perspective. You know, how do you communicate to men the feeling, how do you communicate the feeling of inequality? You know, objectification. Men get objectified too. Okay, this brings up a good topic. This brings up a good point. That does happen from time to time, but also sometimes there's nothing wrong with it. You know, I remember I remember dating a girl, and it came out where like 3 weeks into our relationship, and she didn't say this specifically, but she just wanted me for the sexual relationship. She was not interested in like building a relationship with me on intellect, on bonding over life and sharing kind of life stories. It came out that she was like, can we just have this sex thing? And you could call that objectification, but really here's a woman being honest and just saying, here's what I want out of this. And yet there's like a negative content. No, she's totally fine to do that. She was being upfront, she was communicating. But when a woman shows, you know, when a woman pulls off a move like that, that's typically, you know, like a Hollywood male move, you know, that we see, that we've celebrated in Hollywood and we celebrated in media, men who go out and are able to just bang women and not have a relationship. We celebrate them as heroes. We celebrate them as cool guys, you know, the ones, the party guys in the high school movies that we look up to. Now, when a woman communicates that, it's a negative thing. We're talking about objectification and how men are the victims. No, bullshit. It's totally okay. It's totally okay. And I got it. I got it. I was like, man, I would like to pursue a different relationship with you, but I get it that you just want this to be a sex thing. Thank you for communicating. I get it. And I don't even think that's in the objectification category. You know, I don't even know how to relate to that. I think it's just in like the honest category. Did you know that it's okay for women to go to bars and look to get laid and it doesn't mean anything about them negative? It's okay for women to go, I just want to do a sexual thing. It's okay, and it doesn't mean they're sluts. It doesn't mean they're weak. It's really cool. It's totally fine. To realize that, I mean, it's like I'm going back to that thing about how do you communicate the feeling of the tension under the Me Too movement to men? How do we discuss that? You know, I'm spitting out some thoughts here on my podcast today, but we have a representation problem because I'm not a woman. I haven't lived 30 plus years under that weight, in that struggle, in that constant issue. So we have a representation problem here. I'm just spitting out thoughts. I'm just upset because I didn't like what this person said. I didn't like what this man said about the Me Too movement going too far because some people get falsely accused. Get it? You need to talk about the topic of false accusations, not poo-pooing, not shitting on the Me Too movement. Man, anytime this topic comes up, I just feel like there's so much more work to do. I feel like there's so much more work to do. And honestly, like you can talk about how does a man become a feminist? It's even less than that. Just be objective. Just look at the way the world is working. Look at the way people are being treated or mistreated. Look at the role of women in the workplace. You know, a lot of people want to point and say we've come a long way, but have we? You know, have we come a long way on our understanding of racial tension in America? Some people say we might be worse than ever. Maybe the case is the same with elevating and equalizing the role of women. How far have we come? I taught a college class one time on white male privilege. And one of our biggest focuses was talking about what it's like to be a woman. You know, what a woman goes through on a daily basis that stresses her out, that a man would not necessarily deal with. One of the simple things that came up, and we did a whole class on it, was just walking out in public, walking to your car in a parking garage and experiencing the fear of assault, experiencing the fear of rape, experiencing the fear of knowing that you could be overpowered and that people are looking at you in a sexual way simply because you're a woman and your role has been diminished to that of just sexuality. Walking out in public, what it feels like, the fears that are associated with it, that is fucked. That is so sad. That is like, it blows my mind. And then I'm like, okay, this is life for people. This is life for people. So how is it communicated? I feel like just telling the story is the best way to communicate it. Tell your story. Tell your story. And I think also if people will surround women in applauding them for saying what they want, it's awesome. Men have got to say what they want for years. Women can do the same thing. Women can do the same thing. Tell your story. Say what you want. Be open, be honest. And here's the other thing. I get it that it's hard to be honest. I get it that it's hard to tell your story. It's hard to tell a sad story. It's hard to ask for help. Man, what a difficult thing to do. I want to tell the story of how I feel like I haven't had equality my entire life. Wow, that's hard to do. Here's the other thing about the Me Too movement that needs to be discussed is people are getting hatred and shamed for sharing their stories. You know, there is a lot of applause and there is a lot of comment sections and there's a lot of people saying thanks for being brave, but there's also assholes who are saying like you're just looking for attention. Oh, that's so bad. That's so not helpful. One of the things we have to do in our society is celebrate the people who take a vulnerable chance to share a difficult story. I think another thing that's helpful to communicate to men is try to help people imagine the world we want to get to. Try to paint the picture of the world we want to get to. We are in this world right now where this bullshit takes place, but what if there was a world where at work a woman's advancement has nothing to do with her sexuality? Has nothing to do with the way she dresses, has nothing to do with how much makeup she wears. Advancement and forward progress and applause and praise can come from 1,000 different categories separate from a woman's sexuality. You know, this brings up another good topic too. I think there should be, you know, I think there is a place for flirting in the workplace. Like if it's natural and it's real, but when it's communicated that all parties involved are not into this flirting, it needs to end. You know, how, you know, there's a moment where if you're feeling some chemistry, whether you're a man or a woman, looking at, you know, somebody in your workplace and you're feeling some chemistry and there could be some magic there, there's got to be a moment of communication. There's got to be a moment of intent communicated. But when it's not accepted or when it's not reciprocated, it's got to end right there. You know, you're always anywhere in life, not just the workplace, anywhere in life, when you take the risk and let somebody know you kind of like them, that there's some magic and you're feeling, there's always a risk of rejection. It can happen in a public place, at a bar. It can happen at a restaurant. It can happen in the workplace. There's always a risk. And so I think we need to be open to it. We need to be open to flirting, but you got to still make people feel safe. When the rejection happens, handle it like a pro. Whatever side of the male-female battle you're on, handle it like a pro. I'm thinking about this all the time. I'm a single guy, investigating dating. I'm looking into dating, and how do you approach a woman? How do I approach a woman and both make her feel flattered but also feel safe? So the topic today comes down to just be aware of what you're saying. Be aware of your commentary on the situation. Be aware. Try to have a little self-awareness. Try to have a little world awareness. The Me Too movement has not gone too far. You might be upset about false accusations out there. You might be upset about getting your feelings hurt from time to time. Talk about that. Let that be the topic of your conversation. No need to drag into your insecurity the positive movements that are just scratching the surface on justice change and equality change in our country. Be aware. I want to be aware. And also, figure out ways to gently call out people who are not being aware. Give them a chance. Give them a chance. A lot of us are ignorant. A lot of us don't understand representation. A lot of us just say shit that we were culturally brainwashed with or that we grew comfy with. Give people a chance. Approach them with a gentle rebuttal, and you'll be surprised how many people will apologize and say thank you. There will be some dicks who are like, okay, you don't know what you're talking about. Now my hackles are up. But give people a chance. Call them out gently. A gentle call out goes a long way, longer than we think. And we got a long way to go. We got a long way to go. I hope the conversation can be open and fun and at times funny. We examine social situations. We examine the way we get along. We examine the way we ask each other out. You know, it can be a fun topic. I want to make a woman feel safe when I approach her with a compliment and I approach her with my intent to want to be with her. How do I make her feel safe and how do I make her feel honored? That's a funny topic. We could get into a lot of good stand-up material on that. So we can have fun with this. We can be gentle with each other. Let's just get the conversation rolling, get the conversation more open. And hell no, the Me Too movement has not gone too far. Let's keep it going further.